Capricorn. Oh gosh. I think this is Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra is kind of traumatized. It's not traumatizing for me, but like, I dated an alcoholic for like maybe 2 years, which isn't a long time to date a person who is an alcoholic, but it is, right? And he played Frank Sinatra a lot when he was drunk, so now I'm like, sorry, but you got some cards that fell out in your pre-shuffle, Capricorn. Hi, who is this? Who am I talking to? Who is that? I want to say hello. Like, share, and subscribe, everybody. Tawanda, welcome back. Wait, that's not Tawanda. That's Tarnisha. Sorry, honey. Tarnisha Clemens, welcome back. I said Tawanda only because I couldn't see the screen. I'm getting old. My birthday is in a week from now. Okay, so as you see, I have this Saturn pin on because Saturn is the ruler of my first house, right? It is, my first house planet that's the furthest along. So I understand the restriction. I understand the wanting to master things skillfully. Okay, so this is a card that is Mars in Capricorn. Mars is actually exalted in Capricorn, and it takes that energy of Mars and it puts it in a very useful context, right? It puts it into a context where like it's going to be the most efficient, right? So this is efficiency that you're looking for. This could even be like getting something fixed, right? Like I said, there's construction going on outside, right, really close to me, and that's basically what this is. This is building something, and that's something sort of like being in this stage of growth, right? Because the threes are talking about growth. It's also talking about opportunity, and this is the opportunity for growth through like maybe a new job, or maybe you got a promotion, or maybe you're getting what you need out of work now, and this could come from something external. You know what I mean? You could have gone to an outside source, or you could have gone to something that wasn't necessarily a part of your reality as you saw it or as you knew it. It might have been something given to you or something offered to you. This is also talking about a need to reorder, or you might be needing to reorder something. You might even need to get something repaired. This could also talk about just a new cycle of work. There might be a new training that you might be doing, that type of thing. This could also have to do with the kids. This could have to do with you helping your kids with their work, with school, with homework, being there sometimes when your kids change grades and things, you revisit things that you had in school as well. So it's almost kind of like reteaching yourself again too. So some of you guys might be there with that. This could also have to do with the pregnancy. Some of you guys might be trying to get pregnant and it just hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? Because you have the three here, which is the Empress, and that's connected to the High Priestess, which is very moon, watery energy. This being Mars in Capricorn, and it being about work and building, and the change is occurring, and you doing the work behind those changes. Okay. Um, then you got the Nine of Swords here, which is actually what Capricorn also, not Capricorn, but what Cancer got yesterday. The Nine of Swords is related to the Hermit, which is another card that popped out in the pre-shuffle. I haven't even shuffled these cards yet, but these fell out, so I decided that I would read them. The Nine of Swords is Mars and Gemini, and this is talking about putting energy and effort into the thought process. So whatever it is that you're building or you're trying to build, right, or you're trying to get in order, might be causing you some worry because the details might have you have to do extra work because to iron out the details. You know what I mean? Because you're looking at things, you're analyzing things. You might even be analyzing your feelings in terms of a process, or maybe something's affecting you emotionally where you feel like, you have mixed feelings about what you want to do about something, or how you want to build something, or where you want to see something go, or what you want to see something flourish into. This could even have to do with like repairs on the house, like I said, or it could have something to do with like landscaping. Maybe you have to fix something, maybe something needs to be fixed. This could even have to do with worry about a process that has to do with like government, or maybe it has to do with like paperwork, or it could have to do with just like a processing paperwork so that you can get something approved, or it could have to do with processing paperwork so that you can get um, approved. Okay, and the hermit is definitely talking about going in and trying to discover some aspect of yourself that you didn't realize before, or something that you didn't look at before, and you're appreciating it in a different way, where it's going to show you, another side of the process, so that you can start to allow yourself to grow, from within. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you looking at a situation that you might have felt like needed to understand a little bit better, and it's in direct reflection of this, right? So it's like you definitely are reflecting on an experience, you're reflecting on, an environment, your work environment. Probably this could be that too. There could have been like an argument, or there could have been a misunderstanding at the work environment, or somebody could have exercised, some force or strength or authority. Maybe it was some authority that they didn't have necessarily. Maybe they weren't labeled with that authority, but they made an executive decision, or maybe they decided to say something, or decided to do something, something like that. But you're deciding if it's a place where you want to be anymore, or you're trying to decide whether or not, if something is going to work. This could even have to do with like a coworker, or this could have to do with someone that you're doing business with, partnering up with. Um, and it just also has to do with like talks, what's being said. You're trying to get somewhere with these conversation and with these talks, but you're also trying to discover what it is that you can do on your end to make it better, or to have an epiphany, or discover something making it worthwhile. So you're trying to figure out if something is actually worthwhile for you, Capricorn. And you're very practical, you know what I mean? So you only do what you need to do to get what it is that you need. Now your motto is I use and I consume, so you have to be careful sometimes. Anyway, this also has to do with travel. So you're trying to figure out if you're going to travel, or if you want to, it's kind of like your ideal, your philosophy might change on the way that you see yourself working, or building something with somebody, or creating something with someone, or with an institution, or with something that's already been established. Because the hermit energy is establishing something, right? Because it's Earth, and so is this Three of Pentacles, which is Mars and Capricorn. Now the hermit is also talking about, cycles evolving. Maybe maybe your thoughts have changed, right, on what it is that you want to do, or the planning, right, the itinerary, or where you see yourself going. You might be having to change, travel plans, or something like that. um Yes, this could also even be you trying to get your point across, you know what I mean? Trying to get other people to understand what it is that needs to be seen in, um, what it is that needs to be seen, so that you can make a situation better, right? Or satisfy whatever it is that you need. And here's the Empress. I was talking about the Empress. She's at the bottom of the deck in the pre-shuffle. Okay, so the Empress is talking about needing, being receptive. Okay, and the Hermit is receptive to its own intuitive self and its own inspiration through its own wisdom, right? By being connected to, consciousness, right? But it's in a more detailed way, right? It understands that it is a part of its environment, right? It's a product of its environment. So it has to understand how it has been affected by its environment, right? And then do that inner work, that self work, because all of these cards are talking about inner and self, right? Others, right? But the threes are talking about inner things that are going on, right? Just under the surface, right? There's work being done. You're definitely being more you're trying to get what it is that you need, or you're being gentle with yourself. You're also trying to see the beauty in a situation, or seeing where, the pleasure can come out of a situation by ironing out some of the wrinkles, filling in some of the cracks, trying to make it seem a little bit more practical, a little bit more conducive, a little bit more collaborative. You know what I mean? This is kind of like a joint effort type of situation. Um, the threes are also talking about children, so there could be children involved. This could be children within an institution, or this could be children with a single parent, or within a marriage. Yeah, let me just go ahead and lay and shuffle these some more, and then I'm gonna lay them out, because those just kind of like fell out of my hand, and I don't know why that message came out, but it's there. Definitely mother, children, money, You know, there could be some child support things going on with some of you guys if you're single moms out there trying to get what it is that you need. Maybe you're providing, you're being the sole provider. Maybe your work and the time that you're able to spend with your kids is, butting heads. But also in your first house of self, or in Capricorn, we have Saturn and Pluto right now. Saturn just went direct, which is your ruling planet. Okay, so there could be some karmic forces, some energy that you may have felt like shifted, right? But it's been over a long period of time. It's been over the cycles of the moon, right? And the nines, right? The process, you had to discover some things within yourself that was actually going to get you to go from one place to another, right? You weren't going to be able to come out of this unchanged, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Because Saturn and Pluto, they're definitely going to change you, and they are going to continue to change you. And you're going to have Jupiter going into Capricorn in a few months. You know what I mean? So he's going to be there with those planets. I think I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and Saturn in Libra. Okay, word. That's a 3-2. Here we go. So that's saying that that was good. That was your what the hell am I doing? That was your cards. All right, here we go. I'm like, Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck for you, Capricorn. Wow. I just talked about Pluto. It's not the Judgment card, and it's not the Five of Cups. It's the Death card. So this is talking about transformation. It is talking about a clearing of energy that you felt like was probably had control over you. This is allowing yourself to acknowledge what it is that you might be sensitive to, that you have to just admit to that, right? Admit to your sensitivities, admit to the places where like you aren't the most powerful, admit to yourself, what it is that you would like to let go of, right? It's not about proving anything at this point. It really is about letting go and clearing things out and releasing old energy. You know what I mean? This is 13, so it reduces to a 4, so it's talking about being self-aware. It's also talking about instinct, right? You work from a very primal energy yourself, being that Mars is exalted in your sign, and Scorpio is actually 2 signs behind you, so it's your 11th house. So this could have to do with like some friendships ending, or this could probably have to do with a friend being jealous, or it could have to do with you know the end of a friendship that could have been something more than a friendship. I don't know where that's coming from, but yes, this is kind of like, just letting go of something, not holding any resentment. You know what I mean? Because when you hold on to that resentment, you are basically, intoxicating your spirit with that negative energy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like very low vibration. So it's like if you are willing, if you are able to accept those things that you cannot change, then you are actually, admitting your weakness, but in turn, you're admitting your power as well. You know what I mean? This is the ability to cope with anything that you feel like might challenge you in a bigger way. You know what I mean? Anyway, the death card is talking about endings, transformations. It's also talking, it's sexual energy too. So you could have stopped having sex, or you may have like actually had sex. You know what I mean? And that could have brought about this ending, or someone else had sex with somebody, and that could have brought about this ending. And some of you guys could have just actually experienced death, which I'm sorry to hear if you have. But it is saying that you can get past this. Definitely do whatever it is that you need to do to cleanse your spirit and admit to yourself, because the 4s, the 1s, they also are talking about admitting something to yourself. And this is a very watery energy with Scorpio. Maybe some of you are dealing with a Scorpio. Maybe it has to do with shared resources. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Somebody could be trying to control your money, or maybe you felt like a situation was controlling your ability to make money, so you had to put an end to it, right? Because this card could have something to do with work as well. The death card, for sure. Okay, so let me go ahead and flip over the center card. You have another three, which is the Three of Wands. And this is definitely talking about some kind of reciprocity, right? And it's talking about needing to see something come back from something that you already initiated, okay? Because this is Sun in Aries, and Sun in Aries is talking about the spring, and it's talking about new beginnings, right? And it's what comes after the ending. It's what comes after Pisces, which is the last card, which is also related to that energy of death. You know what I mean? For sure. Libra cross watching. Well, Saturn and Libra came up, and look. Okay, wait. You can't see it because of the light. Libra mug. Anyway, so you got the death card, which is Scorpio, and then you got this card, which is Aries, which is talking about Mars, and this is, the willpower. So there could be some strong willpower here, there could be some stubbornness, right? You might be waiting to hear back from somebody, but they might be acting stubborn, or you might be, something could be ending. You're turning your back on a situation, or, somebody could be turning their back on you. You're looking forward into the future, though, definitely with a clearing of energy. You're experiencing more growth. You're starting to see these little sprouts of growth, and you're starting to see things become a little bit more alive for you. And there's also this anticipation, because this card talks about anticipation being a three. You got a lot of threes. You got the Empress, which is, that's talking about needing something, wanting something, waiting for something. This is a three. This is talking about waiting for something, anticipating something. You put the work and the energy into something, and now you're waiting for that return. What can I get out of that thing that I already sort of like set into motion? And that's the multiplicity, right? There are more things happening there. It's kind of like you made the plans, you were doing the things, you were deciding where to go, and now you're trying to figure out what that's going to bring you, what that's going to give you. So there's some focus on yourself. You're focusing on yourself right now, which makes sense because Capricorn, is your first house, especially if you're a Capricorn rising, right? And you have Saturn and Pluto there, and Pluto is exalted in the first house, right? In the first house, Pluto is also the ruling planet of Scorpio, and Aries is generally the first house. So, Pluto is definitely speaking to me a lot in this reading, and yes, so that's where we're going with that. Also, this is kind of like some of you guys could be dealing with communication or wanting to communicate or saying something or sending out an email or sending out, whatever. Okay, through emails, through communication. Some of you guys could have been going out on interviews, presenting yourself, trying to get yourself into that energy of staying motivated, right? To continue to take advantage of the opportunities, because the threes are talking about opportunities, because if you're waiting and you need something, then you want an opportunity, right? And this is wanting. The Sun in Aries definitely wants something. It wants to create, it wants to build, it wants to do. You know what I mean? So this is you being very involved, right? But you also are waiting in anticipation for something to end, probably. So now let me go ahead and flip over the card, the Lovers, a relationship, or it could just do with something that, some habits or something that was a part of your everyday life. You know what I mean? That is no longer going to be a part of your norm, a part of your, your rhythm, because this talks about rhythmic patterns as well. You know what I mean? The sixes, right? And then they also talk about your habits and what you do and how you protect yourself from the external influences that are going to be inevitable, right? So this is kind of like that relationship, right? Were you able to protect yourself from the external influences that were inevitable? Were you? I was talking about things that you can't control, right? Okay. And then when you're waiting for something, you're waiting in anticipation because we want something, and you want to control whether or not it's going to be coming to you in the way that you want it to, right? Because Capricorn definitely wants things. Their motto is I consume and I use and I build, right? And I climb, that type of thing. So that's going for something. You know what I mean? So sometimes when you go for something and it doesn't end up being what you wanted it to be, then it's kind of like the disappointment, right? But the challenge is the ability to exercise reciprocity, the ability to face someone face to face. Because I said this is like having your back turned to someone, and then this is something that no one wants to face, right? Nobody wants to look death in the face. Nobody wants to see, the reality or the consequences, right? Because death is definitely talking about consequences. You know what I mean? The four is as well, because it's like It's the self, and we all have consequences, right? And our actions, right? And just life has consequences. And this is talking about life and death, right? And it's talking about sexuality as well. And then it's also talking about consequences due to life, consequences due to death, kind of. But then what are the consequences of death? Are there any? Maybe, if that death was brought upon by an external influence, right? By something that was able to put a stop to something that was already active and that was already in motion, right? Something that was already thriving. There was something external that came in and did something, right? That sort of like perforated it, or kind of like punctured it, right? Because it's someone feeling stabbed in the back, somebody feeling cut, right? Because the death card is Scorpio, and Scorpio rules sharp objects. The Lovers, this is talking about understanding, right? Communication, for sure. There might have been a lapse of communication, or there might have been an end of communication, or there might have just kind of been like, maybe somebody blocked someone on social media and turned their back on them, you know what I mean? And the challenge is that you may not see anything getting back to the way it may have been before, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. But yeah, the Three of Cups, I don't know if that's coming up, but we'll see if it comes up. I don't know, Capricorn. You could be dealing with a Gemini, you could be dealing with a Virgo, or you could be dealing with an Aries, a Cancer, or a Scorpio, okay? And perhaps a Taurus or Gemini. That's as far as I'm going to go with all of those signs. So now let me flip over your sun position, which is where we're bringing focus, right? Where we're bringing energy, where we're putting more of our acknowledgement, right? What you need to attend to. Okay, so this 10 here, Capricorn, is related to you because you're the 10th house, and your 10th house is Aries. So there could be, some selfishness that might be karmic, or there might be some karma here that is making you feel like you are struggling with your personal identity. Okay, because like I said, Saturn, Pluto, conjunct in your first house, especially if you're a Capricorn rising. Um, and the tens reduced to a one, right? So that's talking about the acknowledgement of self, right? And it's talking about the work that you have to do, right? To release some of the burden, to release some of the baggage, right? From the past. Like I was talking about that. It's like you're carrying all of this weight from the past, you know what I mean? Because Saturn is in your first house right now. Pluto is definitely talking about past experiences and scorn and resentment. You know what I mean? You might be acknowledging these things, and you're having to clear these things away, Capricorn. You know? Sun, moon, or rising, but definitely if you have any planets there that are Saturn and back, like if Mercury, Venus, right? Moon for sure, Jupiter, Saturn. Did I say any? Did I miss any? Or Mars, for sure, Mars, because he's exalted there. But any of the outer planets, not so much. But if you had a lot of inner planets in Capricorn, if you're having your Saturn return or something like that, that could be what this is. You know what I mean? And then, like, focus is being brought to work for a lot of you, and how you are just feeling weighed down by your work. You know what I mean? You want to do more work, but it's kind of like you might be taking on more. You may have bitten off more than you can chew, but it's almost like you're trying to do it all on your own. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like earth signs anyway. There was this meme on Instagram this morning, and it was like earth signs not taking any help for their friends, or not accepting any help from their friends, or after not. And the car was all mangled. It looked like it was total, but that shit was still driving. They were still driving their car. They were like, right. I didn't get any help from my friends, and this is what happened. But look, I'm still driving. I'm still riding. I need them. So this is you. This is kind of like you being like, I don't need them. I didn't need them. I didn't need that job. You know, I didn't need that to be a part of my reality. Capricorns are sexy. Sure, it's probably that Mars thing. You know what I mean? For sure. It's kind of like Aries, Capricorn, and Scorpio, right? But yeah, Saturn in Sagittarius. So this is talking about feeling restricted in terms of like where you feel like you are capable of going, because the tens and the ones are talking about capable, right? And this is mutable, so this is talking about adapting to something. So the adaptation, right, would be to make changes based on what this photo, what this image is showing you. The change looks like it needs to be that something needs to be let go of. So you are letting go of something. You are focusing on letting go of something. You are focusing on moving away from something. You are focusing on just dumping something out, right? Taking out the trash. That's what Saturn does. And Pluto definitely does that too, because Pluto is talking about like waste, right? Hmm. Also Scorpio too. Not Scorpio. Yeah, I said Scorpio. But Virgo, interestingly enough, because they rule the intestines, right? You got to get things out so that you can stay healthy, right? So this is talking about processing things too. This 10 is related to Jupiter, so there's an opportunity for you to let go of something that was holding you back. Honestly, Capricorn, you know what I mean? And that's what Saturn and Pluto want you to do. Let go of the things that have been holding you back, right? Pluto is making you feel, emotionally attached to the things that have been holding you back because they are a part of your experience. So sometimes we go to those things that are actually in our way and we bring too much focus on the things that are in our way. And we need to get them out of our way so we can stop focusing on them. Now it's different when things are in your way because of, societal things or the way that government is run or the way that, your karma based on, society. Because this is talking about societal karma as well, right? I know that's right. Sorry. But societal karma is real, and we all come from different places, and our belief systems are going to be different, and how we're treated is going to be different based on societal norms and cultural influences as well. You know what I mean? So crazy. It's like when they don't want to see a white person rapping, or you don't want to see a person of color golfing, right? I rarely see, I'm not even gonna go there. But it's like we've been seasoned, right, to just accept and to be comfortable with things that were a part of us getting to this toxic place. And I'm not talking about, societally too, but here in your reading. We are. You know what I mean? That's why some people feel like they're not beautiful because they might be like too skinny or too fat or too short, or maybe they might have a mole or something. It's because we've been seasoned to believe that something else was the way that it should be, and it's the most accepted. Anyway, I'm good. That's not even really what this is happening, but that might have to do with confidence, because this has to do with confidence as well. Do you have the confidence to move forward? Do you feel like you can deal with all of the things that have been handed to you karmically? Right, because these things are meant to teach you something, because Saturn is a teacher. So these are all lessons. All of these things that you feel like are getting in your way and holding you back are all lessons. But it's like if you don't do the homework, right? Sagittarius, learning. If you don't do the homework, then how am I going to be able to process that grade to let you move on? This is like backed up homework. Honey, no extensions. Saturn definitely ain't going to give you no extension. It might. If it sees that you've been working in ways, it may not be, you may have not gotten exactly there yet, but if it sees that you've been getting through that process, you're doing the work, you know what I mean? But I just need you guys to recognize where some of the work can be, exempt or whatever. What am I saying? Okay. So, turn in some of them papers. Okay, definitely dealing with transformation, definitely dealing with an intimate relationship, or definitely dealing with intimate feelings, intense feelings towards the past, right? the way that something may have been processed, or the way that, something might have gone, wanting it to be better than it was, wishing you could go back and change something. It's the Six of Cups, right? So it's related to the sixth house, right? And it's also related to this Lover's card here. Okay, look at this. This is the youth. In the beginning, right? The emotions were good. We felt good. This is the moon position, right? This is the moon position, right? What we evolved into, what we planned on nurturing. This is how we began nurturing it. This is what we wanted. This is what we needed. This is what I need, and this is what I want. A job that's going to be good to me, a partner that's going to be good to me. This is also, being a little idealizing the past, right? Idealizing the past, because that's when things were good, right? And that's what I'm talking about, moving from the past, right? This is definitely talking about past things, because that's behind you. And then we're looking at this person's back too. So there's some things moving into the future. Hope and optimism towards the future, right? But then it's also saying, you're taking these things with you in the future that definitely need to be processed emotionally, because you have the Scorpio card in the moon, and and we're gonna figure this out, because once we get into November, we're going to have that Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. Now, maybe we might have the new moon in Scorpio before Mercury goes retrograde. So this is saying that there might be something that you can figure out by that time, or maybe you're going to feel cleansed of that, or maybe you're going to be looking at something as a past experience and no longer as a current one. You know what I mean? Because the challenge here is in the current position, is in the now, which is the Lovers. So this is the beginning, right? And this is the maturity of it being the challenge. So now you're challenged, right? Whatever that thing was in your daily life, it could be where you used to live, right? It could be just getting what you need emotionally from yourself, or just from your experience, right? Emotionally, don't blame other people for what it is that you were meant to learn karmically. They're just players in the game of life. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just have to, like, you get to these sometimes you can't cut corners. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to go through people that are keys for you opening your next door, right? And that's Saturn. Okay. And I have Saturn and Pluto in my first house conjunct. So I know. Also, I have Venus in my 11th house, so I'm saying I know. That's very Aquarian. But anyway, it's difficult, but you can definitely get past it, because it wasn't meant to kill you. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, baby. Right? And we want you to get back to that place of being able to identify with that youthful spirit within you that makes things okay, that makes things better, that is always able to stay motivated, right? Because of your creatives, or like the ideas that come up into your head. We are so creative. Like, there's so many things that we think of in a day to day, you know what I mean, that just don't get outwardly expressed, but they're just kind of like in there, right? Inner feelings. So your inner feelings actually want to be expressed. You want to express your inner feelings, right? Let's look at your past position, which, okay, Ace of Cups. And this is, past, recent past, okay? So there's a new identification of a feeling, right? Giving one, you've received a new feeling, right? This is the acknowledgement, the spark of something, right? Initiating the cleansing mode, initiating the forgiveness mode, initiating seeing the light side out of a situation. This is also a new beginning, right? You're embarking on a new beginning, right? The Ace of Cups is definitely talking about using your creativity as a ways to identify with your emotional process. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like when your emotions are met with your creativity, now we got something going. Now we've just drawn a line from one to the other. Now there's something that we can do. Now there's alchemy going on here. But you've acknowledged that. So something has been initiated so that you can get to this place of receiving. So you can get to this place of opening up. So something is opening up for you. I feel like something opened up for you in the past, right? And this is a Six of Cups that is kind of like a past card, right? Because it's talking about views of the past, compassionate views of the past. It is a Cups card. It is Scorpio. And you have another Scorpio card here too. So it really is talking about the death of a situation. You know what I mean? Um Yeah, so it's a change of phase. This is the truth about feelings as well. Maybe the truth about feelings were expressed, you know what I mean? And that is what is causing this. There's an outpouring of emotion as well. This could be like bam, you know what I mean? Because it's very potent, right? And it's very here and now, right? So there could have been an offering of, you know, emotion. There could have been just an offering of feeling somebody might have expressed, because the aces do have to do with expression too. Being one, being first. Putting your feelings out there, getting your feelings out there. You had to do it because you didn't want to hold on to it, you know what I mean? Or that type of thing. Capricorn. Um, And this Ace of Cups is related to the Ten of Wands, just because the tens, reduced to ones. So this ten is talking about you having that karmic struggle, right? You feeling weighed down, okay? But then this is talking about allowing yourself to free yourself of that, right? That bondage, right? Opening up to better things. Receiving love from yourself. Okay, let's look at your anxieties, which are related to your moon. Okay, the Fool. This is Uranus. Okay. All right. Um, I think Uranus is actually exalted in Scorpio. So there's a lot of surprise things, surprise endings. There's a lot of shakeups going on here. There's a need to cleanse, right? There's a need to begin again. There is a need to be more optimistic. It's almost kind of like the Fool in this spread is looking. It's funny because it's looking away from the past, but it's going back to something. It's not facing the future, and it's not in really a future position. It's in the anxieties position. So it's almost kind of like you're clearing things out. You're allowing yourself to just kind of like break free of what it might have been that was holding you back in the past emotionally, right? But you're going back to a place that you feel more comfortable or optimistic with. You know what I mean? Your anxieties are like that you're going to be more sensitive to, that you might be a little bit more antsy, right? So I feel like you're anxious and you're a little bit antsy to start something over, to start a new beginning, because the Ace of Cups is crowning the Fool, right? Here's the Ace of Cups, you guys. And here's your Fool position, which is saying you have anxieties about a new beginning, right? You might be feeling a little bit more sensitive to the new beginning. It's kind of like not knowing what is going to happen is what is bringing you anxieties, because the Fool actually doesn't know what's happening. He knows what's happening now. He almost doesn't even really care about what has happened, because he's moving away from something, and he's look, honey. Okay, look at him. Look at her. And look at her. Okay, completely different. Oh, so heavy. I'm carrying things. I got rid of all that shit. And look at what I got with me now. Right? Happiness, playfulness, the ability to see that you are special, right? So some of you might have anxieties in that, the anxiety is coming from not feeling special or not feeling, unique. You know what I mean? So maybe something didn't make you feel special or unique enough, or maybe something didn't feel like it was giving you the reciprocity that you needed, and you had to move forward from it. Maybe something didn't make you feel like you were able to create the abundance that you sought, right? There's a Fool again, a clearing out, changing, radical change, right? I said it before. you know, these changes that are happening, that are occurring. You could be dealing with the Libra too. So this could be, this full energy could be talking about going back to a situation to bring more balance, right? Or going back to a reality that's going to be new for you. But it is talking about going backwards, right? Because the Ace of Cups is here in the past position, but it's almost like the Fool is even going beyond that, right? It's going beyond those feelings that you may have felt in the past, and you're wiping those away. You're clearing those away. You're forgiving those. You're seeing, there's a big picture here. There's a bigger perspective. You understand that you're not just meant to be in one place. You're meant to be in many different places at many different times, not at the same time, but at different times, right? And you are living in the moment. You know what I mean? So this is talking about living in the moment for sure, right? There is the past, right? We know the past. We know what the past is, right? In the moon position, you being emotionally affected by it, right? And also just needing to understand the the feelings behind something, what something was meant to actually teach you. You know what I mean, spiritually, because the Six of Cups is talking about being taught something spiritually. It's the Sun, which is which represents authority, right? And then it's the Sun and Scorpio, and that's squaring energy, right? So the squaring energy is talking about bringing about difficulties, and the difficulties here in the Moon position with this Six of Cups is talking about, you know, don't get tied up in in your feelings about the past, and have let those hold you back from moving forward into this new beginning that you seek, right? Let's look at your Mars position. Oh wow, okay. So you got Jupiter and Capricorn there, and I did talk about Jupiter and Capricorn at the very beginning of the reading, and I was like, just wait until it gets there. Well, when Jupiter gets into Capricorn, then you're going to start to see some progressions. You're going to start to really feel these changes happening for you, right? Because the work that you've been doing with Saturn and Pluto, right, the transformation and the karmic payoff, right? There's a karmic payback, and then there's a karmic payoff. It's like the work paying off. And this is talking about travel. You're going to start to see, if you're having movement forward, or you're seeing progressions, because it's progressions, that's kind of traveling practically, right, within a situation that you're trying to see grow. Or you could be traveling, from one place to another, you know what I mean? Or, you could be seeing, just your abundance start to unfold, because you have made these choices that are starting to reveal something to you. You know what I mean? Something that's meaningful, right? It's also, doing whatever it takes to get to where it is that you need to go. It's kind of like allowing yourself to jump into the um, the pool. You know what I mean? And just start swimming. Right? And this is in your Mars position, so it's like you're doing it. You're actively involved, right? And this is a two, so this is talking about what's going to bring you more security, right? You're traveling for security, or you might be doing something so that you can see things develop into something that's, of value to you. You know what I mean? So you're kind of you're starting to appreciate something. You're starting to appreciate yourself a little bit more, because you are being a little more self-reliant, or you're starting to see the ways that you are stretching yourself to become more self-reliant. You know what I mean? But you are already self-reliant, Capricorn. This too might even denote to you, being involved with an Aquarius, a Libra, a Pisces, or a Taurus. Okay, it's also talking about balancing out a situation. This could even be like you saving money, trying to save money, or it could be like you borrowing money, or also it could have to do with just kind of like the beginning stages of building something. Because it's in the Mars position, so you're actively starting to. It's a second phase too. It's a second phase. It's also talking about being tested, highs and lows in terms of money and career. You're going through some career highs and lows as well, right? hmm Relationship highs and lows too, commitment highs and lows, right? What you want to do with your career, right? Because I feel like you have a lot of things that you could possibly do, but it's like, what are you going to commit yourself to right now that's going to bring you more security? Okay. Now let's look at your Venus position, which is talking about, what's going, that's pleasure, that's beauty, that's relationships. It's how you're relating to your experience, your environment. What are the circumstances? How sensitive you are to, your environment and the circumstances that are housed within your environment. You know what I mean? It gets deeper than just beauty. Okay, so you have the Three of Cups here, and that's beautiful because it's related to the Empress, and we're talking about being able to um, understand your feelings and understand what it is that brings you light energy, whatever what it is that brings you pleasure. You know what I mean? This is also talking about needing something out of a relationship, or needing something, needing to see the beauty in oneself. That's really what this is talking about, because Cancer is talking about the emotional self, right? The emotional impulse, emotional security, the identification of the emotions. Okay, being a four, right? That's related to the Emperor, which is Aries, which is one, me, I am, identification. And Mercury is also talking about identification through expression, through verbally expressing something, or this could be like through, just the reassurance, affirmation, right? It's the thought process. What are you thinking and what are you feeling? You know what I mean? How are you putting those into process so that they can give birth to something that is going to bring beauty to you, who you are. It's talking about confidence, right? Allowing yourself to you know um exist within the beauty of who you are. You know what I mean? Because your emotions are a part of who you are, your process is a part of who you are. Your feelings, so much feelings, you know what I mean? But it's Cancer, right? So it's saying that you have to do those things to reinforce, right? Because the threes are also talking about reinforcement through communication, right? If we constantly stay in communication, if we constantly reassure, then we can always be in a comfortable place, right? Because this is also talking about comfort as well. Being Cancer and being a three related to the Empress. This is saying that you need something to bring the beauty back, right? And beauty meaning like in your environment. Right, and so this probably has to do with the Fool as well, because Libra has a connection with all the threes, okay, and the Empress, and the Fool is Uranus. That's esoterically Uranus rules Libra, okay. So this could be talking about just clearing things out, bringing some balance to your relationships, or maybe you're just starting to see your relationships in a new way, or you just have to reconsider them. You have to, or you are doing that. Mercury in Cancer is also talking about third party relationships. You know what I mean? So this could be your understanding about your feelings and how they're being affected by the information that you are pulling in, or by what you are getting back. It's kind of like what you're getting out of something. You know this is wanting your emotions to be understood. Maybe somebody doesn't feel like their emotions were understood, or because you're Capricorn and your house of relationships is Cancer, and here we are with Cancer being in Venus, the relationship position. So this does talk about third party relationships. So does Saturn in Libra. um let me read this too. Hold on, don't leave me, y'all. Let me read Mercury in Cancer for you guys. I have this amazing astrology book that I love so much, and it really gives me a lot of things. Let's see. Mercury in Cancer. Mercury in Cancer, okay? Here we go. Mercury placed in the sign Cancer indicates a mind that is influenced by deep seated emotional patterns. Unconscious desires will cause the person to look at some facts and ignore the others. The results being bias and prejudice and interference with objective thinking. At times, if Mercury is badly afflicted, it may be untruthful without consciously realizing it. Mercury in this sign can indicate a good memory because of the emotional intensity that is associated with the thoughts. There is also a tendency to absorb much information subliminally, or to learn by osmosis, right? That feeling, that connection. than nonverbal. In fact, much of the mental process occurs on an unconscious level, although it is manifested as conscious intent. Since people with this Mercury position are highly susceptible to the attitudes and opinions of those around them, their thinking can be influenced by emotional appeals such as patriotism. They are very sensitive personally. They believe that whatever is done or spoken in their environment is especially directed towards them. Much of the thinking centers around the home and family. There is considerable business ability in matters related to food, domestic and consumer products, and real estate. So this is being overly sensitive to the information or the understanding that you are pulling in, subconsciously from what is being communicated to you non-verbally. You know what I mean? It's like your feelings and your the pattern of your feelings is coming from your thought process that's making you believe something, or your feelings that are making you believe something, right? It's being connected with the mind and the feelings, right? Weird. Head and heart as well, because the cancer also is related to the heart and the heart chakras, because home is where the heart is, right? Mm. So let's look at your future cards, Capricorn. This reading has been an hour. Wow. Libra season might have you guys feeling a little bit better, but it also squares you. Okay, so your energy moving forward is the Nine of Pentacles. This is Venus in Virgo, and Venus is debilitated in Virgo, right? So this is saying that in the future, Capricorn, you're going to be very discriminate of your relationships, right? This could even be saying that you were very discriminate, or you were over analyzing a partner, right? Or maybe you needed to find out the details, or maybe you were just being like, you know, um, overly sensitive to the actions of others, right? This could also be being that you like overly sensitive, right? Because it's a nine, so it's related to the moon, but it's also saying that there's something that you need to see out of this. You know what I mean? You're going to be more discriminate of your partners in the future. That's what this card is talking about, the Nine of Pentacles. Because also it talks about being discriminate of your partners, because it's kind of like you take it upon, it's like your beauty, all of the things that make you special. It's kind of like you're not going to downgrade yourself in the future, and you're not going to go to a job, or you're not going to be in a relationship, because it's Venus, that doesn't really align with who you are. But just be careful that you don't start shutting people out based on some old reality that you experience with someone else that has no connection to them, right? You have to be able to discern, right? This is also using discernment within relationships, and also with jobs too. This is also self-worth. What I know that I'm smarter, or I know that I'm more intelligent than you might think that I am. So I know where my self-worth lies. This is also putting energy and time into expressing, your beauty, right? Creativity again. There we go with Venus, right? This is also saying where you fit into a process, and how the process benefits from you, and how you benefit from the process. Okay. Um, this is also a card of abundance. It's also a card of maybe you need maybe there's like pets involved. Okay, maybe you're gonna just be thinking about getting a pet and not be so involved in relationships in the future. Maybe that'll be a part of your spiritual cleansing, or a part of your therapeutic you know process. I keep saying that word, sorry. But the nines are talking about traveling, going from getting places. You might be. I see you getting places in the future. You going somewhere, right? That is going to be more exciting and more beneficial for you, right? You're going to be enjoying your environment a little bit more, right? With these changes that are occurring, because this Venus and Virgo is talking about changing, or changes occurring with a relationship, right? Perhaps, or old habits, right? It's like, don't take the old habits that you have from your previous relationships with you into your next phase, or into your next life. It's kind of like letting go. It's like, here's a relationship in the past, right? Yay, we were great. And then the challenge is this, right? Our relationship as it is now, or the situation as it is now, my life as it is now. This was my life in the past when I was younger and I didn't have a lot of things that I had to know responsibilities, you know what I mean? Being taken care of, shared resources, right? Okay. Now there's a challenge because we have to be a little bit more mature and a little bit more responsible. And we're feeling like this, right? Or we're identifying with this of things being challenging, you know. We want a new beginning. We want to feel more optimistic. We have anxieties because we're overly sensitive to things and we've been affected by it. But now we want to have this radical change, right? We want to see progress. We want to see things move forward. We want to see things start to show us some results, you know. So this is kind of like you being shown some results as well, okay? And results could be in the form of communication. This could be the stamp of approval on something, right? Like, oh, okay, I thought so. And then we have this card here, which is talking about, you know, being sensitive to the process that you've been going through, right? Your thoughts and your feelings, right? Confidence, being confident to speak your mind, to express yourself within your relationship. You know what I mean? Uh, or within your environment, you know, feeling comfortable within your environment, you know, how your environment might be affecting you psychologically, right? And emotionally, for sure. Period. And relationship, right? And this is talking about, you know, appreciation of oneself, but then it could be talking about the depreciation of others because of your appreciation of self. Or maybe other people might be feeling like you aren't giving them the time of day in the future. You know, it's just be careful that you're not like too dogmatic about how you feel or think about your relationships moving forward. That you're not too preachy about the things that, you know, you feel like you deserve, or the things that you feel like, you know, you need, or you should have, that type of thing. You know, this is also staying beautiful, right, within your spirit, within your soul, because it is a nine. And you understand now it's kind of like self-respect too. This card is self-respect because it is a nine, and that's related to Virgo or the Hermit, but it's also related to the ninth house of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius definitely wants respect. You know what I mean? And Venus deserves it, and you know, she does, but sometimes she doesn't necessarily get it because people are too discriminate of that energy, or of that sensibility of making things more pleasurable. You know, because sometimes you might try to make things pleasurable because they're displeasing. And if something is displeasing, don't try to make it more pleasurable. Just be willing to accept what it is that you are going to be left with without that thing that is displeasing. Okay? Right. Another Venus card. So we really are talking about relationships here. You had that eclipse in Cancer in July, around Cancer season. Okay? And we had a full moon in Aquarius right after Cancer season. Okay? And that was when the sun was in Leo and Venus was there too. This card is the Five of Swords. And Aquarius is talking about I know, right? And Libra is talking about I balance. So someone's knowledge of something could have brought balance to a situation, or somebody needed to bring balance to a situation because they knew something, or maybe two people were at odds with each other because of, you know, or a commitment. There was difficulties within a commitment, or within a friendship, or within understanding, right? Um, because someone wanted to prove their perception of things, or someone wanted to justify their actions, or they wanted to try to be logical about their actions, or it was kind of like, you know, this is conflict, right? And it's conflict within communication because someone is being stubborn. Somebody isn't being willingly open to discuss, or somebody is, you know, exercising, you know, a dominant energy, right? Yeah. It's is also like somebody feeling like somebody is better than them, or thinking that somebody is better than them, or maybe this is something, in the future, this, being a future card, because it is, you know what I mean, it's talking about belief systems. It's talking about understanding that sometimes people can have a difference of opinion, and that doesn't mean that, one is right or one is wrong, or one person is doing things better than the other person. It's not about comparing yourself to anybody or them comparing themselves to you. It's not about trying to fit into any mold or fit into any, box, or any fence, or any kind of, thing. The status quo. This is somebody making somebody feel, not so great because they are different, or maybe they have like a different way of doing things. You know what I mean? Or maybe their creativity is a little eccentric, right? Also, this could be somebody that is, or this energy could be you just needing to detach, definitely, because Aquarius is talking about detachment and Venus is talking about relationships. So it's talking about somebody who needs to detach from a relationship that wasn't good for their spirit, it wasn't good for their mind, and wasn't good for their heart. You know what I mean? Because this is kind of like, there are no winners here and there are no losers here, right? There are no winners. There might be losers, but there are no winners, definitely. Okay, we're just gonna say there are no winners. You know what I mean? Um, and this is the energy shifting too when someone leaves an environment that was controlled, right? Because it's a five. It's talking about Hierophant energy and Taurus, right? I have. So the acknowledgement or the loss of something that you once had within a relationship might be bringing focus to your, it's going to bring more focus to your mental side. So in the future, because of all of the stuff that's going on, you're going to be thinking, sorrowfully, or you're going to be thinking about a commitment, or you're going to be thinking about, like, man, this didn't happen, this didn't work out, or why did it have to be that way? It's kind of like wanting to change something, or wanting something to be something that it's not. And that's what the fives are also relating to as well, wanting something to be something that it's not. Okay. And it's like realizing that too, the realization, because the fives are talking about what's real here. What am I realizing? The inner ear from Taurus. What am I realizing? The fifth house sun, reality, right? What am I realizing here? What am I understanding here? What's coming? What is my knowledge telling me? What do I know now that's making me feel like I need to detach from this? Okay. And then here we go with the last card, which is the energy that you're going to be going into. This is the ascendant position. This is kind of like what is, what you're identifying with right now, and what is actually being projected, what you are projecting, what we are projecting that you're going to be getting into. All of those. Yes. Okay. Good. Good. Self love again, compassion, self understanding. Right. In a different way, because this is usually talking about marriage and commitment, but then it's also talking about the self too, because it's a 10. So this is self growth, right? Okay. It's also travel. Okay. This is also talking about, the acknowledgement of one's emotions, feeling complete within oneself, right? Unconditional love of oneself, right? And this could also, be related to the unconditional love that you might have for something, right? Someone. This could be a Pisces situation that you're dealing with. It could be a Capricorn. It could be an Aries, right? Yeah, Aries, Capricorn, Pisces. And this is Mars in Pisces. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it could have something to do with the relationship. The 10th month is October. But yeah, this is talking about opportunity. It's talking about probably even feeling emotionally exhausted. right? Because Mars is talking about energy and effort and fire and passion and drive, and that exhausts you. And Pisces is a very exhausting sign. It's a very exhausting energy because it's the last sign in the zodiac, so it's been through a lot. So this is saying that you've probably been through a lot, and you have to acknowledge that you have been through a lot. So you have to give yourself back that unconditional love and that compassion that you deserve. Because the tens are talking about things that you deserve as well, because it's the 10th house, and Saturn gives you what you deserve based on what you've earned. Okay, so the tens are also talking about things that have been earned. You know what I mean? And this is great that we're going from here, right, to here. Okay, letting all of that shit go, right? Clearing things out. And then we're talking about here as well. So this is also actively forgiving something as well, you know, because Pisces is related to Jupiter, right? This is a 10. And then that's growth, right? Expansion, okay? And this is expansion within the feelings, right? Growth, emotional growth, okay? Maturity, because the tens are also talking about things maturing, maturity, right? So something has matured here that you're moving on from, right? And you're going back into here, okay? So got big, now it's getting condensed into something else. It's like bringing all of this back in, right? All of it back in and focusing it, refocusing it. Okay, so that's really wonderful. Thank you, Capricorn. Your reading was pretty long, but I feel like I kind of knew it was, and I wanted to give you a bonus when you're planet went direct. But I guess this is a pretty long reading for 2 weeks. You may get in October. I hope so. But I did want to give you guys something before the month of September was over. Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Providence Tarot, and I am NYC Kendrick on Instagram. Also, if you'd like to book a reading with me, email providencetarot.kendrick@gmail.com. Okay, so yeah, this is your reading, Capricorn, and you're definitely beginning again. And you're looking back at the past and seeing how it's affecting you now, and you're trying not to make the same mistakes that you've made in the past, so you're going to be a little bit more discriminate, right? Light just came in, right? It just got bright, so that's good. But definitely stay in your love, right? Definitely stay in your light. Don't get too dark with it. Don't get too resentful. Just move forward and see how you can get past the struggles. It's about coming into the new day, right? Into the new light, walking through the door. So the tens are definitely talking about walking through doors or climbing things or obstacles, right? Because the tens are related to mountainous energy. Whoa, the growth of something overwhelming, intimidation, right? Don't be intimidated. You're moving forward. Do it confidently. Understand that these relationships and these situations that you have experienced were meant to challenge you so that you could grow, so that you could experience, maturity and then start to appreciate yourself and bring more value to you, who you are, your experience, everything. It's kind of like, giving yourself what it is that you deserve from your life and not just what you think you deserve to have from other people, right? Because it's not just about what you can get from other people. And Capricorn, to be honest with you, y'all want, y'all eat, y'all get, y'all fight for it. Kind of relentless sometimes, like Saturn is relentless. Um, and Mars can be relentless because it wants what it wants. Um, I'm exhausted with y'all. Just kidding. But yes, definitely completions, endings. Love yourself, right? And let go of those things that have been holding you back and making you feel tied down, burdened. Both of the planets in your first house are going to go direct. I promise it's going to start to make more sense. You might even be feeling it before it actually really happens, right? Because that energy, sometimes I feel Mercury, the retrograde before it happens, but that could just be, my cosmic consciousness and all of that shit that's connected. And, I could just be experiencing it, downloading energy. That happens a lot. Thanks, everybody. And this is the book that I've been reading, The Astrologer's Handbook. It looks old. I think it's wonderful. It's a great book, you know. Me and my friend were in Urban Outfitters the other day, and he was like, "Should I get this astrology book?" And I was like, "It's cute, but it seems like very like Generation Z, which there's nothing wrong with that, honey. I would read it too because, like, you know." But you know, sometimes you want to go into the more, um, the less trendy versions of information. Sometimes because we can be very trendy these days with social media, and sometimes it's good to go for the less trendy option because you're gonna probably get something that you didn't get before that some things might be left out today, or you might get some extra things that have sort of like evolved from the old way that we were looking at things. I think that all studies of astrology are valid and they're all still kind of connected anyway. You know what I mean? So I just love it. I've always loved the planets and astronomy. And also, like, I remember like seeing the moon many different times when I was younger, and just seeing it be orange or really really close to the earth and stuff, and just seeing it. And it's funny because now that I look back on that, I'm like, wow, you were like the whole time. All right, bye, you guys. I won't keep you, but maybe I will start doing videos where I just talk to y'all because I feel like sometimes I'm thinking things when I'm not recording videos and thinking things about cards and planets and all kinds of stuff, and I don't. I'm just thinking them to myself. I'm communicating with the energy that communicates with me. So anyway, bye.